Hello, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the November 25th, 1996 edition of Monday Night Raw, and the match card is as follows. In our opener, we had Bret Hart versus Owen Hart. In our second match, we had the Executioner versus Freddie Joe Floyd. We had Rocky Maivia versus Salvatore Sincere. And in our main event, we had Billy Gunn versus Marc Mero with Sable. All right, let's do it. So
it was an interesting one.
This one, yeah, it was like I want to say just like the energy was kind of hard to follow what we have
yes
been. Maybe that's it. It kind of felt like when the like the air just like depleting from like a balloon, just like all the excitement came out like the last like couple weeks leading up to the pay-per-view, and then the immediate fallout of the pay-per-view, and now we're at the we're at the bottom again and have to like start like tracking.
We gotta inflate the balloon.
Yeah, we gotta to like let it go again.
Yeah, because it started off like, I mean, that's a big match. It started off with such a big match, Owen versus his brother Bret, and then it was like, but it was weird. Was it weird, or am I like making that up?
What, just the match
like
itself?
It was good, but it was, yeah.
It felt very, for them having already had like, first of all, like a banger of a match like at WrestleMania 10, and for them being brothers, and for them like just having all of this history already, it felt very like it was like the first time they were wrestling for some reason.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Because I was like, I had very high expectations for this match, and I'm not saying they're not good wrestlers, but like I had such high expectations for this match being like the drama, because it's like, yes, they've wrestled in the past together, but this is his like return match fight against his brother. So I was like, there's gotta be like pomp and circumstance. They officially ditched the intro. We had no intro again this week.
Oh,
thank
yes.
God. Sorry.
Yeah, honestly, we're good. We're past
good.
it. We've moved on.
It was good while it lasted, but now I'm past it.
Wow.
Had to quote Shania. Anyway. Amazed it took me this long to slip one in, and you both.
Honestly,
but here we are. Cheers.
We can't be champions of everybody at all times.
No, but I will.
But we try.
Okay.
Well, and we're back. So this match was like as you expected it to be, in regards of like, it was very technical. They're both very technical wrestlers. It was very at certain points almost looked like it was like an amateur wrestling, or like the wrestling you see at the Olympics, kind of like.
Yeah. Oh my God, I thought that.
Yes, because because that's how they are like trained. Like, because very much so professional wrestling obviously is based off of that, ding ding ding. But it's obviously very, it's more drawn out and dramatic, and then you add in actually hitting and whatever. But at its core, like, that's what it is, and they're both just so good at that of course the match kind of like tended to steer its way in that direction. So it was very technical, lots of like hold, reversal, submission, reversal, like other hold, reversal. Like, it was very, as you expect it to be, very neck and neck, as far as nobody in this match was like clearly pulling away.
Yeah, and this is not a read, but like, like when you watch like modern dance and they like kind of like weave like in each other and like use each other's bodies and stuff. Like, that's kind of, at one point I was like, wow. I was like, if you put Jar of Hearts over this, forget it.
Done. Game over. The whole crowd in tears. Just everyone sobbing.
Yeah, I mean, again, not a read, because it was so well done. Like, they were just weaving, and like it's just, that's kind of what it like lended itself to, which I'm not mad about. No. It's just like so like great. I love it.
Yeah, we're here for it. We're here for every second of it. We had a couple moments where Owen is being just the brat that he is. He has Bret Hart in a camel clutch submission, where he's basically like laying on his like lower, or sitting on his lower back, and has his arms basically like held back, and is basically like holding him by the neck.
It does look very uncomfortable.
It definitely is, and it very much so. there are certain points of this match where you're very much like, oh, they're brothers. Like if in the first tie-up specifically, where they like neither one of them would let go of the tie-up until the referee literally had to like interject his body like between the two,
Yeah.
literally like a parent being
I
like,
was just gonna
whoa.
say, like, fine, Dad.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And there was that moment where Owen had Bret Hart in this like kind of silly like pinning predicament. And Bret Hart like just like grabs like just like Owen's ass and just shoves him off of him in such a like brotherly way where he's just like, get off, like
Get off.
stop. Right. There was just moments of that, but he has him in the camel clutch. Owen has Bret in the camel clutch. I should refrain from using he.
He has him, and you're just like,
yeah, exactly. And you're like, I'm sorry, is this a Dr. Seuss fucking book? But but he's just like just yelling. He's like, I'm the only champion. You're a loser. Like,
oh yeah,
like shouting.
You're a loser. And like I was like, whoa, they need to go to therapy real bad.
Pronto.
Pronto right after this match. Instead of going to the locker room, they're like, boop, surprise therapy. Gotcha.
Amen.
Gotcha.
Listen, I'm gonna heal ya.
They'll swear. Get the passer in there. Seriously.
So we are like going through the motions of this match, and then Stone Cold Steve Austin comes barreling down the aisleway with a steel chair, smacks Bret Hart right in the back, knocking him just out, basically. And then obviously that gets the disqualification victory for Bret. But he takes it a step further, and he tries to essentially do the same thing that he had done to Brian Pillman, which was shove Bret's foot into the chair with all the intentions of climbing the top rope and stomping on it, thus
folding the folding chair into your ankle.
Folding the chair.
Fold in the ankle.
Yeah, it's like fold in the cheese.
Fold in the cheese. That's exactly what I was going for. Thank you.
But much to the chagrin of both Stone Cold and Owen Hart, because Owen Hart was team break that ankle. He was all about it. He was like, rah, rah, shish kumbah. Like, he was here for it.
Put in the chair and break it.
But the Bulldog comes down and like rips the chair off of Bret's leg, and it's like, enough. And like,
Bulldog.
obviously we know the background of this is that he is brother-in-laws. He is the brother-in-law of both
of them.
Right.
Yeah.
I for some reason really stumbled because there's two brothers and like could not.
He's the brothers-in-law, but he is the brother-in-law.
Yes.
Singular.
Of both of them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but so he was watching.
Backstory.
Oh, sorry, you go.
Oh no, go ahead.
Well, because he was watching, like they panned to him at one point watching the match.
Right.
And I did think of this when I saw that. I was like, oh, because he hypothetically, allegedly, in real life, is friends with both of them. Like, correct. Close with both of them, even though he's just Owen's tag team partner. Like, he knows Bret just as well as he knows Owen, probably.
Right.
Like, they're family. So it's like, I wonder how he feels about this. That's so weird. And then we found out.
And actually, he probably knows Bret probably just better because they've been wrestling together longer. Not as like a team, but they did come up in a lot of the same territories and have wrestled each other like prior. Like, they also have a Bret and the British Bulldog also had an epic match in Wembley Stadium where the British Bulldog ended up winning the Intercontinental title from Bret in his home country. It was a big deal. It was a big match. We have lots of matches that happened before this podcast that I need to catch you up on.
Like one-offs. We need like one-offs, like a list of,
and we can have little mini episodes where we just have one-offs.
Yeah. Oh my God, we should do that. That'd be so fun.
Yes.
More wrestling.
More wrestling. So the Bulldog stops it, sort of, and then sort of, and then he gets into it, yelling in Owen's face. He's like, "That's enough! Like, what are you doing? Like, that's your brother! Like, blah blah blah." And while that's happening, Stone Cold is reapplying the chair to Bret Hart's
sets
ankle,
it up again.
like just the tenacious. He was just going after him. And then once again, the Bulldog pulls the chair off of Bret's ankle and turns around and starts screaming at Owen again. It's like, what's going on? And while that's happening, Stone Cold grabs the chair again because he's over it and smacks the ever lived. He made impact with the British Bulldog's back, and I swear it was like, you know, in it was very reminiscent of like when Doctor Strange gets like exported out of his like body. It's like, I swear to, I
exported out is crazy.
he like I don't
like
know.
export file, but it's your body.
Just your soul.
It's like
it's just like, did you back that up? Is that in the cloud?
Did you put that in the cloud? Seriously, back up your. When was the last time you backed this up? Because we have to export your soul from your meat suit. Oh my, no, but
actually,
but really though,
he hit him so hard. And you
hard.
know that it was hard because when they did the replay, Vince McMahon goes, listen, and just stops talking, and then they just listen to hit him in the back with the chair again, and you're just like, oh, it was horrible.
God.
It was so bad.
Was.
So
Lord.
Stone Cold's message is, this is not over. He clearly does not take this loss at all well, which we had assumed. That was going to be the case.
They weren't gonna shake hands and say "Have a nice day."
No.
We knew this.
Right. That is very, very true. So we know that that's going to be headed towards something at some point. We know that Bret Hart's focus now has to be Psycho Sid, because in the next a little bit under a month, he has the very tall order of literally of trying to take the title from Sid. So he kind of can't really be like dealing with this right now.
No.
And that is where Stone Cold is the most dangerous, because he's like, oh no, I'm not going to be an afterthought to anybody ever.
No. So, you are not going to forget about me, bitch.
Right. So we got to see where he's going to stick his nose, because
he is such a little menacing, like,
he's such a menace. He's such a menace.
I can't.
We're going to see where he decides to pop up next, and in what manner he's going to decide to make Bret Hart's life a little more difficult.
Yeah.
So,
really quickly, I want to mention, I didn't realize, it took me literally till seeing them together in the ring, that both Bret and Owen Hart have black and pink fits. Yeah, I know that's not necessarily essential to the story, but I just think that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, so there's a thing called the Hart Foundation, a tag team. Essentially, it was like almost like a faction. Basically, it consisted of Bret Hart, Jim, the Anvil Neidhart, Owen was in it, the British Bulldog was in it, and I actually believe Brian Pillman is in it. I might just be spoiling this for you. It might not have happened yet, now that I'm thinking about it. We'll see how this goes. I'll do the little
research.
I'll do the research, and I may cut this. We'll see. Going into our second match, much to the surprise of myself and I'm assuming you, the Executioner made his debut, which honestly, it's like they went back in time and just knew that we were talking shit.
No, swear to God, every time we talk smack, something changes. Like the way we were roasting Farouk alive, and then like the next episode, he was like, they're like, Farouk's not coming out because he's getting a whole rebrand. We were like,
thank God. Listen, I'm glad. I am at the very least pleased that we are on the pulse of whatever is happening, because like
actually
we don't know what's happening, and I have
no
forgotten a lot of what's happening. So
wow, actually that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like as far as like us being like kind of we're pretty good at guessing, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we're on a good streak.
Yeah, we've put that in the universe, and now it's all downhill from here. Sorry, listeners.
Yeah, sorry about that. Again, us and our god complex. We're like, oh my God, are we so good at this?
Oh my God, honestly, we are so conceited. Anyway,
it's horrible. Anyway.
So we had the Executioner debut against our boy Freddie Boots the House Down Floyd, and once again, Freddie didn't need this.
He did. I swear to God, this poor man. The way I want to read about him and like understand him so deeply, I don't know why.
Poor
he
Freddie
just really gets the short straw.
Just keeps getting fed to these people.
Fed for what?
before the match even begins, we cut to a Paul Bear promo in the back, which is all but unintelligible
Yeah.
because he kind of talks about the Undertaker. I don't really know what he's talking about. He's like not scared of him, but scared of him. Like he's not coming. The Executioner's going to deal with it. I don't know.
It
And
was very
then all
weird.
of a sudden it just cuts to Mankind, who was apparently there the whole time, just
On the
on the
floor.
floor, just on the floor,
On the
clutching the
floor.
urn. Just okay.
And then he just shrieks, "Have a nice day." That's it. Just 2 cents.
I'm also just like,
No.
you'd think that being that this was the Executioner's like first like actual match that they'd let him speak,
You
but
would think.
but he apparently we're not doing that. We're not. We still have yet to hear him talk.
And it's so interesting because I don't know if they're doing that because they think it's creating like an element of mystery, but it's like not working. Like it's not creating this like element of like, well, who is he? Like I'm just like, it's not like who is he? It's like, all right, who is he? Seriously.
Right.
Like it's
Like
more like angry.
who
I'm
is
just like,
this
can you
guy?
just introduce yourself? Like, who are you? Like it's
Right.
not, if they were going for air of mystery, it's not working for me, to be honest.
No, it's because nothing about him is like mysterious. Like there isn't like it just says like Executioner. Like you know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
he is just like the bare bones of like a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is nothing like fleshed out other than like he's called the Executioner, looks like an old Executioner. That's it. Like
Yeah, an old
that's as
timey.
far
That's
as that
it.
went. They were just like, okay, cool, he's out here now.
The way
But
they did more for what was the guy who does like large game hunting?
the
The
Stalker,
stalker. The way they did more for the stalker in promo than the executioner is crazy.
it's because the Executioner has been a part of a storyline, like a major storyline for like over a month now. We can do better.
I'm just saying.
So it was announced during this match that the Undertaker will be taking on the Executioner in an Armageddon rules match, which from watching the match, I have grasped that there's going to be no rules or like no disqualifications. Apparently pinfalls and submissions are not going to count.
Do you
Apparently
have to die?
apparently you go until you cannot go anymore. That is apparently the rules of the match, or at least that's how Jerry the King Lawler described it as the match was kind of like coming to a close.
Oh, I missed that part.
So
I
we're
thought
gonna
it was
see
going to be like pinfalls only,
right.
but
No, so apparently it's you.
nothing.
Yeah, you just keep going until you literally cannot fight anymore. So we'll see what that entails. I know the
Interesting.
Undertaker is raring to get his hands on Paul and will get through whatever he needs to get through
Yeah, the
to
executioner
get
is
there.
next in line. We
Well,
said it.
the Undertaker or the Executioner rather has been putting himself in line.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, no one told
Yep.
you to participate in this at all.
No one. And
So,
here you come.
so the crowd at Mankind had started a rest in peace chant, which was
So
just
funny.
what it's equal parts like one that it happened and two like how Mankind reacts to it, just like looking around, just like oh my god, like he just sells it so well.
Yeah. And he's
And
like
which is
holding the executioner's like blade thing.
his
And
like
he's like
scythe.
hiding. Yeah,
No,
his
it's not a
scythe.
scythe. It's it's
No,
an axe.
it's an axe, whatever.
Yeah,
The
but
run of
it's
the
like
mill
I don't know.
medieval axe.
Yeah,
We think we upgraded him. He has a real one now instead of like the weird
right.
short party sitting one he used to have.
Right. He might actually be able to take a head with that one.
He might.
Not
It might take a
Buckbeak,
while.
but definitely a head. Like...
Not Buckbeak. They don't even take Buckbeak's head, and if you really no, I'm just kidding.
Listen, it was a stretch. Anyway, yeah, I was gonna say the boos towards the Executioner in this match were like palpable. Like you could like they were loud. Like,
Oh yeah. No one. They
which
were not playing with him.
no. They're I think they are just as over him as we are, and that was the first
100%,
time they've seen him wrestle. And mind you,
which is sad.
it was also just like not the best. Like he just
No.
seemed winded, like
Yeah.
and just like he looked like he didn't want to like take any of the moves. Like when he got like knocked down, it was like it felt like he had to get like dragged down. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like he wasn't selling much. He wasn't doing like whatever. He came out looking strong, whatever, I guess.
Sure.
But it's just like he
It's
for how little we know, I wanted and how little he has said, I wanted more to be said in the ring, and it just like wasn't.
right. Yeah, so true. Because like if he went out and he was like an incredible wrestler, like would I shut my trap immediately? Yes. Like I'd be like, oh wow, okay, so he slaps. Like that's great. But also compared to Freddie Joe Floyd, who sells like a mofo,
Right.
like Freddie Joe Floyd was getting thrown into the corner, being like, like
Right.
he's just so good. And
So
then
good.
the executioner was almost like, I hate to say this, it almost felt like lazy. Like he just seemed kind of like, okay, like hit you with the
Yeah.
clothesline, like all right, like
Right. And like it's just that energy reads. That energy reads
yes,
so like it
absolutely.
falls so flat as far as like a performance goes. So I mean, I we'll get through this.
We'll see what happens.
But the to finish this match, the executioner pulls out the what they called the Asian spike submission, which was like
Yeah.
essentially he like called for something with like his thumb, and basically he just like jammed his thumb like into the side of his like neck and just like held it real hard or something,
Ew.
and eventually Freddie Joe Floyd just kind of like passed out.
Which it is pretty horrible if you think about it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's just like that's
Ugh.
gross, but like it's just like
That's gross.
it is gross. Like
It is.
there's something about necks that just like makes you
Oh,
feel so but
it's just, yeah, no, thank you.
but I feel like I don't know, I just wanted like I wanted something more sudden as like a finisher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that is that like says like executioner. You know, like something that's like off with their heads.
Yeah. And
Like
I
some
guess
move to have to do with like, you know. But maybe
and
that's
I
just like me
no,
reading too much into it.
no, I really feel that, and I don't know if it was supposed to be like, this is gonna be my move, so I'm gonna show it to you, and like, and I don't know if it's supposed to be like this kind of thing, like
Right.
when they're like off, but like, I hear what you're saying. Like, it needed to be almost more
I,
like literally chopping someone's head off, like setting them up where their
I wanted
heads
something
like
more
off
like
the
finite, like something just like that was
yeah,
like
like
this is the end. Right.
yeah, I hear you. I absolutely hear you.
So after that match, we cut to Shawn Michaels, who is in San Antonio at the home of Jose Lothario, and we are finally going to hear them speak about everything that has gone down at their Survivor Series in terms of that match, and Psycho Sid using the camera on Jose Lothario and then on Shawn Michaels
Wrong.
and taking the title from
So
him.
wrong for that.
First, it starts with First, Jose Lothario gets asked about like kind of his health. He kind of is like, we'll get to that in like a moment. And then he says the world's sweetest thing where he's like, I would just like to apologize to like not only the fans, but Shawn Michaels, like,
An
because of
angel.
me, like I cost him the title. Which
No, you
was
didn't, sweetie. Don't say that.
right. Absolutely. It was so, I was like, oh. And then,
And he's just so like he just looks so soft. Like he's just like, yeah, just
yeah, oh,
really
honestly.
bad.
And then he gives us an update on his heart. Apparently he needs to have some kind of procedure done because there was
Yeah,
damage done to his heart during that whole incident. And
crazy.
then Vince McMahon turns the interview to Shawn Michaels. And it got heated. Shawn was
So heated.
pressed. So
Rest.
Vince McMahon asks basically like how he feels about like the situation, about like what happened. Shawn Michaels goes into this whole like diatribe basically about like how he lost his edge. He's not going to blame anybody for that. He's certainly not going to blame Jose for that. Like and then he goes on to like express that like Sid, you hit like an older like man who had like nothing to do with the situation, like regardless of
Yeah.
what you did to me, like that is too far, like like what you were doing, like if and then he said something about like if you were able to like match me skill for skill, I would have been the only man that would have looked you in the eyes and shook your hand, but you didn't want to do that. So you took like the easy way out. And now he's like, Shawn Michaels has an opportunity against whoever wins the championship match between Bret Hart and Psycho Sid. So basically, he alludes to he's like, I'll fight Bret, don't care,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I want you. I
Yep.
want you. Uh, and then Vince McMahon asked this one question about how Shawn felt about the crowd's reaction to Psycho Sid being such a fan favorite when up to that point. And really, it was like, and we talked about this last or 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
that it was like during that match that like there was an audible like shift
Switch.
in the crowd,
Yeah.
which was crazy. But
So crazy.
basically Shawn goes into like saying like, would I love the crowd support? Sure, but I'm not gonna beg anybody anywhere anytime for anything. So like, if you're
Period.
gonna come along for the ride, come along for the ride. If not, oh well. And he's like, it's a cliche for a reason. Like, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Like, I can play just as dirty. I can get just as like down and in the grit of it as anybody else here. And if it means I gotta kick your teeth in to do it, I'm gonna do it, and you can watch me do it. And if anybody has
Crazy.
anything to say about it, try it. And
Try
I
me.
was, and it's just such a classic, like, Shawn Michaels doesn't miss. Like, he
Yeah.
doesn't miss. And
So
like,
true.
because like, even if in a whatever a segment, he like stumbles for like a second, he
A
catches it so
second.
quick. He catches
So
it
quick.
so quick, changes gears fast. He answers the question like in a way that's like, you didn't need to necessarily hear the question to know the answer. Like
Right.
you could have caught on any like second of that promo and been like, oh shoot.
Oh
Like,
shoot. Seriously. It was like the definition of F around and find out. Like he was like, "Oh, okay, so you wanted to like play dirty? Well, like now I'm gunning for you like I've never gunned before and now I'm going to be a menace." Like I really hope I kind of want to see him be like a menace. Cuz like
mhm.
I think we talked
It's
about this
coming.
too where like oh my god, thank God. Because I think we talked about this too where like Shawn Michaels isn't usually the type to like go ringside during somebody else's match and like mess around.
Right.
I like really hope that I want to see it. Like I want to see him like go ringside and be like a little freaking menace with his
Oh,
like
you don't even know. Shawn
oh
Michaels is going to redefine the word menace.
no
He
way.
is, yes, baby. We have it's 1996. We have another about 2 years left of Shawn Michaels's run. This first run. He comes
Oh,
back
because he comes back.
later.
Yeah.
Um, but he is such a menace. It's
Oh,
going to be great. Yeah. I don't want to give away like too much because I want you to be like a little bit surprised by what's happening. But let's just say he forms a faction. It becomes one of the biggest factions in history, and he gets to be his personality off camera gets to really come out on camera, and it's a lot of fun.
ooh, oh my God, I can't
Oh
wait.
my, yes, Shawn
Because like I
Michaels'
want to
menace
see
era is
it.
coming.
Oh,
People
I
think
want
he's
to
a
see the Shawn
menace
Michaels.
now. He said it's literally like it's very much in the same vein of like this conversation. He's like, oh, you think this is bad. I was like, he's keeping it tame. I was like, baby, Shawn Michaels, like, you think he's flamboyant, over the top, what now? Please, please, this man.
Okay, this is the greatest possible news. I am so excited because I was like, I hope he like. Do we love to see Shawn Michaels be like with his like, rock solid moral compass? Like, sure, of course. But like also, sometimes I want to see the person with a rock solid moral compass like be a menace.
Yes.
Like just forego everything they've built their palace on and
Mm-hmm.
just be a little menace.
Oh, and it's great. And because
Okay, God
because it's
bless.
and because like Shawn Michaels has done like he's pushed the envelope the entire time. So like he's
Right.
already doing the most. So now like there is a shift where he starts doing the most in the other direction, where you're just like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, I can't
So
wait to get Whiplash. Ooh,
it's good. It's good. It's gonna be great.
God bless. Wow,
Next,
that's exciting. Okay.
the next match is also very exciting because it is the Monday Night Raw debut of Rocky Maivia, aka The Rock, aka Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and
Heyo.
he will be taking on Salvatore Sincere, who is just a stereotype in boots.
Yeah. The way they really ride that train is crazy.
Oh, for sure. So before the match begins, Salvatore's on the mic and he's telling the fans just how much Salvatore loves everybody.
He's so sincere.
And he's like, he means it from the bottom of his heart. And you're just like, "Ooh, okay. Um, so at some point during this match, Jerry the King Lawler is out here calling somebody a liar. So, but the reference that he makes during this
This is insane.
match just shook me and Kelsey like just like to our core.
The core.
Because he references the OJ Simpson trial happening that day.
That day.
So apparently on November 25th, 1996, the OJ Simpson trial was actively ongoing and it was just crazy. So Kelsey did the honors of doing a little bit of like research, so what was going on that
Yeah, like
day.
the bare minimum, but yeah.
Yeah. So what was going on?
Okay, so he said it was so funny because he said like, yeah, like he's a liar, just like OJ was on the stand. And then I was like, oh wow, he's bringing up the OJ Simpson trial. But then he goes, today. And I was like, we were like, today? Who's on the stand today? And so I was like, I gotta look this up. So November 25th. So it's just one of those things. Like, yes, I knew that the OJ Simpson trial was in the 90s, but specifically when, who remembers that? Crazy.
Right.
But I looked it up, briefest moment of research, and it was like the day that the maid, I think OJ's maid took the stand, and like, which is crazy, and like was like witness, and I don't remember. I have to do more research, but like researching the OJ Simpson trial always gives me the ick. I don't know, but like I don't want to be that person that's researching the OJ Simpson trial. You feel me? So, right. But yeah, it was the day the maid took the stand, which is wild. Right. So on that really, day.
I'm telling you, there are so many moments during the like watching this where I'm just like I forget, and then all of a sudden I'm slapped back to reality of what year we are in, and I'm like, holy cow, like that's insane.
Because then they made another like, then they were talking about like, oh well, you know, Pamela Anderson's getting a divorce pretty soon, and I was like, damn, again, I'm back in 1996.
Right, you're just like, whoa.
I keep getting whiplash. I'm like, the amount of 1996 references that just happened in the span of 3 minutes.
Right, I was like,
and I kind of forgot.
But yeah, it threw us for a loop just because
it's just weird.
Current events of the day, I guess.
OJ Simpson on trial today.
Whew. That's crazy. So Salvatore Sincere pretty much like opens this match by dropping a sloppy kiss on Rocky Maivia just to kind of throw him off of his game, which is not the first time we've seen it. It seems more in Goldust's wheelhouse, but like go to town. Salvatore loves everybody, as he has said. True. Maybe he was spreading the wealth, you know?
If you could, you would. If you had the opportunity to kiss Rock honestly, right on his bald head, you absolutely would.
And he'd be like, get off me.
I'd have to get off my ladder after kissing him on the head.
On the top of the head, absolutely. Like, where were you perched? So Sonny is on commentary during this match because she just cannot help herself, and this woman was practically
the restraint you just practiced
was practically like in heat on commentary. She was so wild, salivating, absolutely drooling,
saying the most
She's like, I got my eyes on Rocky Maivia. I'd like to show him more than just the ropes and like all this nonsense.
You know what I'm saying.
I was like, we all know what you're saying. We knew what you were saying before you said anything because we saw what you came out in. We knew what you were doing. Like,
also when she came out, let us not let it go without mentioning the little Vince McMahon dance, because I'll never recover.
no,
Because she walked out, and normally when she sits next to Jerry the King, but today she decided that she's gonna prance her little self over to Vince's side, and she grabs his hand, pulls him up.
And they do a little boogie. It's
it was so uncomfortable
because for some reason he looks 65 in 1996 and he isn't. Like, he just simply is not. Like,
he's just not, but
he's like 70 something today. Like, I don't understand why he looks like he's been I
out of
know.
the blue. And it really gave, and I hate to say this, but it really gave like creepy uncle and like
which, with all of the allegations against Vince McMahon and the ongoing trials that he is currently.
Wait, what?
Oh, baby. Oh, okay.
Wait, I don't know anything about that. What?
So in the fairly recent history,
what is with all these trials? Sorry,
Vince McMahon was accused by former wrestlers or former staff, don't know super exactly, of being sexually inappropriate in the workplace. Thus, during that time, he stepped down as CEO of WWE. Yes, and temporarily his daughter ended up like sharing the responsibility with like another sharing entity, like somebody else that owns part of the company. So they ended up splitting the responsibility. And yeah, so that was basically going on. And then basically Vince McMahon only kind of returns to WWE to facilitate the sale of the WWE, which just recently happened, where the UFC and the WWE are now under the same parent company. Yes, this all happened very recently. So
I did not know that. I'm gonna be honest. Again, hashtag new to wrestling. That's me.
Yeah.
I did not know that. For people who are like, how do you not know? I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah. So
what?
The fact that he gave you creepy uncle vibes is not off the mark. So
wow. See, I felt that without even knowing. You just know. Sometimes you just know.
Sometimes you just know.
That is crazy.
So
ew. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no.
That's gross.
No, it's fine. So mostly like this match is great. The Rock looks fantastic. It's one of those matches where you're more concerned with what's happening on commentary than you are necessarily what's happening in the ring.
Right.
Mostly because Sonny was wildin', and then there was this moment where Jerry got real jealous, like very jealous.
Oh, girl.
Like, and it was just like uncomfortable for all to watch. Like, because at some point he's like, "Oh, like what? Like what happened? What about me? Basically, like what am I, like chopped liver?" And
I'm starting to get jealous,
and
Sonny.
then Sonny goes off, and she's like, "Why? Well, if you get yourself in the gym and you like look like that, then like maybe." And he was like, "I'm royalty," and she was like, "I'm sorry, King." Like she had like a moment where she remembered that they were like supposed to be like on the same side, and she's like, "I'm sorry, King. I just got overexcited. And
I just got ahead of myself, or like I just got too carried away."
Yeah, and you're just like, ugh.
The way that they were like very briefly like Rizzo and Kaneki from Grease, like, where they're like that couple, but then they just like scream at each other and like throw a drink, and then they're like, "I love you, baby."
Right. It's just like, what happened? It was very, very odd.
So but also Sonny said like she didn't just say go to the gym, she said go to the gym and win some matches.
Oh, that was very
and I was
true. Like, yikes! In the hearts.
I too would be upset. But also the truth hurts. Anyway.
Yeah, so the match ends with Rocky Maivia performing a shoulder breaker, which I guess is what he's using as his finisher now, which is it'll change. That will not stick around forever. Okay. But he picks up his first victory. So Rocky Maivia well on his way to rising up through the ranks. He's got a lot to prove. He's very new. Like he's gonna have to just keep showing up week over week and collecting these victories, and hopefully get the crowd on his side. But
yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
Though. And the way that they're selling him is crazy. Like the way that they have Sonny out there being like, "Oh my god, he's the one to watch. He's the one to watch," and then they had two people that I did not know, but two people who were, I don't know if they were wrestlers or coaches, like Hall of Famers, like pop in
Oh,
and be like,
former wrestlers. Yeah.
former
Former
wrestlers.
wrestlers,
Okay.
Hall of Famers. Yeah.
Okay. So they popped in and were like, yeah, like he's got so much potential. Like he's really the one to watch. Blah, 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 blah. Like the way that they're really like
Right. Well,
selling him
there
to
is a
people.
lot of, he comes with a lot of history on his shoulders just based on
Right.
because of who he is.
Yeah.
So he is, I guess, both fortunate and unfortunate to be able to rely on that.
Yeah.
But
Big
it
shoes.
does also, exactly, but it does also, like, I imagine, especially in the early goings of your career, is daunting. Like, that's got to be a lot to be
Yeah.
like, not only was my like father really like, he was an outstanding tag team wrestler, like just incredible, but his grandfather was also like the head of this like ridiculous wrestling family. And it's just like, you really like it's step up or step aside as far as like,
Seriously. Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's like, that's gotta, I would love to know kind of like what was going through his head in those like early
Days.
days.
Yeah.
Just because the way he's like presented is very much, in the lineage of his family. So it's like, are they setting him up to fail? I mean, obviously we know that's not the case,
Right.
but
But
it
he doesn't know
is,
that
but
now.
it does end up being that way in a regard, because who he ends up becoming is not based off of his lineage. If
Oh.
you that hit the character The Rock, and like, the stuff you've seen online, and like the,
Yeah.
the smack talking or whatever, none of that is indicative of like where he came from. That
Right.
was almost, he like kind of gets that attitude like almost in spite of that.
It was like his little rebel
Right.
thing. Okay. Wow, I love
And he
that.
takes it, and takes it to the moon. uh
Love it.
so we'll see. We're early days of Rocky Maivia. So after that match, we have a little promo from Marc Mero with Sable right before their main event kind of situation. Basically, the question was posed: how is he going to be able to maintain focus with Triple H out at ringside? Basically, he's like, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to remain focused. And then
Because I
he's
hate him
basically like,
so bad.
right. And basically, uh he goes, if Hunter gets up from that table, it's going to be the biggest mistake you like ever make. And then he says something, it's like, he's like, it's time to get wild. And then he awkwardly was like, couldn't you tell? And I was like, you don't know when the camera's off, do you?
You weren't sure how long you were supposed to go, were you?
um
That's the bummer. And they were like
I
wearing all black, like there's
right.
like seemed a little subdued.
I feel like we are kind of back. We kind of went back a step as far as Marc Mero promos go. Like, it
It
was
wasn't,
okay,
yeah, it wasn't
but
bad. It just didn't leave
it
an
didn't have the
impression.
fire that, like,
That phone call.
yeah,
I'll never forget that phone call.
maybe it's something about being on camera, like, and not wrestling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe it's like the body language that goes with the speed. Maybe he's like me and I have to like if I talk on the phone, I have to pace. I can't just like
Oh,
sit and have a phone call. So
absolutely.
maybe he was like angrily pacing and he was able to like really work it out. But like with a promo, you just kind of have to like stand there. Not like just
Right.
stand there, but like you're kind of just like, yeah, he better not get up from that table. Okay.
And you're like, all right, whatever.
Okay, sure.
So he will be taking on Billy Gunn, who has made the split from Bart Gunn. So the smoking guns are kaput,
Thank God.
apparently.
Oops, sorry.
I wish we had kind of seen more of the fallout of that.
Yeah.
Just
It's
kind
such
of,
a big, they're such a tease sometimes. Like they do like all they really like stir the pot and like hype it up and then suddenly it's like, oh yeah, by the way, they broke up.
something else is important. You're like, okay. We do get an update from Doc about the tag team champions. Apparently, they have cooled their jets, but the Bulldog has made mention that in no uncertain terms he will be getting a piece of Stone Cold Steve Austin. So Stone Cold Steve Austin making more enemies than friends
Love that about
as the
him.
evening progresses.
And they
So,
said he like fled the scene. They said
oh,
he grabbed his stuff and fled the scene, but that doesn't mean he won't be back. Which I
right.
love that they did that because sorry, spoiler, he didn't come back, but it's like then it creates that like you just never know what he's gonna do.
But will he?
But
Right.
will he come back? I don't know. I love that
So
about him.
yeah, I mean, like, we love it's like the clickbait before clickbait.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And everyone falls to a little clickbait sometimes. I certainly do.
Relatable content.
You know, I'm just like you guys.
Sorry, I'm just like you. So Triple H has joined commentary for this one. We didn't see a Marc Mero entrance. It was just in the ring when we began.
Which wrong.
I agree. We saw Billy Gunn's entrance, but not Marc Mero.
Why? And he was wearing like double-sided denim vest, like the denim was on the front and the flannel was on the back. I didn't need to see that walk in.
No, I'm okay with that. And Kelsey, when she found out that there was no Marc Mero entrance, was like, I feel robbed of having not been able to see Sable's entrance.
Yeah, because it's not about Marc Mero. It's about seeing what Sable wore to accompany Marc Mero. And she was wearing the cutest ensemble that I had to get in bits and pieces throughout the match. And it was just really wrong. They were really wrong for that. And I don't understand why. Because she was wearing the top was like it was like a sweetheart neck corset in black velvet, but it cut off right at the bottom into a brown satin full-length gown. What? What? The velvet and this. I love when the mixed media of the velvet and the satin. And they really robbed me of seeing her walk in.
And her hair was very Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, it was straight, but it was big.
Right. And it like curled like in.
Yes.
You know, where you had to like you're just like
oh my god.
Like,
Jessica Rabbit, what an icon.
So the match begins. We, for some reason, decided to do a tight five on Triple H's nose, and everyone had something to say about that. At one point, I believe Vince McMahon called it a projectile.
He said, that projectile on your face. And then when Triple H asked him to clarify, because Marc Mero in his promo said, I'm going to punch you right in that big nose, which like, wow. And then, so Vince McMahon said that projectile on your face, which the use of projectile is heinous. That is crazy.
Very
and
aggressive.
Then
he said
Triple H
shit flew from your face. That's how far like that nose comes out.
It gets picked up on a radar. Like that's how big it is. Like
right.
And then when Triple H was like, what do you mean by that? He was like, your proboscis.
Right. Fully.
Which proboscis projectile, great band name, just saying. But your proboscis, like he was like, I'm talking about your nose, freak. Like that's literally what he
literally that's how it felt. And then
that's how it felt.
And then they just kind of like moved on. They were like, okay, we're done with his nose.
They're like, we meant your nose, weirdo. Okay, anyway. Like,
so much. So
vile.
Of course, Marc Mero and Triple H are mouthing off to each other at various points throughout the match. We know Marc Mero's been big pissed at Triple H since
he should be.
He stole the title with the help of Mr. Perfect, which I've been meaning to ask you, or I've been meaning to tell you, I should say. That the reason we have not seen Mr. Perfect
why
is because the event that he was supposed to be at, Survivor Series, he no-showed. He just didn't show up.
He no-showed Survivor Series?
Yes, I looked it up because I knew, because I had been simultaneously watching my own whatever of WCW, that Mr. like Perfect shows up there at some point in this time frame. So I was curious that when suddenly he was like all on Triple H's side and then all of a sudden he was just gone, I was like, what happened? So I looked it up. Turns out there had been kind of an ongoing beef between Mr. Perfect and Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon wanted Mr. Perfect to kind of remain on doing commentary and kind of stay out of it being a wrestler. Like he thought his time was kind of done. So Mr. Perfect obviously took great offense to this.
Yeah.
And apparently wanted to obviously be a competitor.
Oh my
So
God.
somewhere in that, it had fallen out to such a point where he was just like, I'm not coming to this event. So he no-showed Survivor Series, which is why all of a sudden they were like, oh, he's no longer with Triple H, and like moved on. So he ended up going to WCW. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, like literally,
That's crazy.
and that's like how fast things like that kind of like happened back then, because up until like this point, like contracts were not the like ironclad, no compete, blah 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 that they are today. Like a lot of it was like a handshake, or it was just
Woo.
so things like that were able to happen. So apparently that's the tea on that.
So just like
you will never see
gonna
him.
see him.
You're never gonna see him wrestle unless you watch WCW, which we can. But I think from the point of this podcast, you're not gonna see him wrestle for a minute.
That is so funny.
I know.
That is so funny, actually.
Like, I know.
I'm like,
because all this time, first of all, I forgot most of this. So like I like didn't even like recall that as a possibility. And so I've just been like talking up what a great wrestler he is and like all this nonsense. And you the whole time just like still haven't seen him wrestle. Hasn't seen him wrestle. Literally, I'm gonna like it's that like meme where it's like, when is my husband coming back from the war? Like, when am I gonna see Mr. Perfect wrestle? Like,
oh never. My God, the gaslighting. You all saw it. You've all heard it. These past few weeks, you've all seen it. Oh, no way.
Yeah, dude.
Actually, I mean, okay, that's crazy, and also like, dare I say, Big D energy. He was just like, all right, I won't show up to a pay-per-view. Bye.
Right. He's like, I'm done with that. See you later.
After he was on the billboard, girl, he was on the billboard, and
I know.
Like, bye.
Said, see you later.
Your competitor.
Rough, dude. Rough. So,
dang, that is Big T. Woo.
So at one point during commentary, the question is posed to Triple H, what does Marc Mero have to do to take the Intercontinental title from you? And he said, first things first, get some ability. And ooh! I screamed. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
They were throwing shots this episode.
I know. It's getting a little more unhinged, and I love it. I'm living for it. And then, of course, Triple H, being the, bad guy that he is, feels the need to start going after Sable. And Vince comes in with the big T. He was like, you're the one who brought Sable into this company. You're the one who on WrestleMania were like, I'm going to bring the most gorgeous, beautiful woman out here. So now don't be trying to like turn a face and start acting like she's not all that. And you weren't all over it.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was like not expecting Vince McMahon to come out that hot.
Vince came out like with the hits on Triple H for no reason. This match, which I love to see, but unexpected. But then it literally turned into a character assassination of Sable.
Oh, absolutely. Triple H at one point he's like, she still has one of my cars, as if she had just been like just gold digging her way through his life.
He was like, oh, I felt bad for the girl. Look at her. She doesn't have a clue. I was like, and then Jerry the King was like, oh, is it the car she have? Is it the BMW? Because that's the only one she could spell.
And then
God.
At some point he's like, oh, like, no, like she had at one point like the Bentley, but I got that back. And then Jerry goes, she looks like she got hit by a Bentley. And I was like, what is wrong with you? First of all, clearly you're blind.
Wrong.
Which I could never imagine a scenario where Jerry the King Lawler is not panting over this woman.
So,
right?
I'm saying because I mean, he pants over pretty much everybody.
That's what I'm saying.
Including Jake the Snake, which we'll get to. But
which I don't understand why he like has all this beef with Sable for some reason.
I don't get it. Especially because and then there was there was like debate over like who broke up with who. It was like Triple H was like, no, like she's the reason I lost like was it the Royal Rumble?
No, the WrestleMania match. Why,
WrestleMania
like,
match. And so I dumped her after that, and it was like, no, like Vince McMahon was like, no, Sable dumped you. It was
right.
literally like Vince McMahon was like, he walked in on like Jerry the King and Triple H like in the bathroom, like talking shit about like his best friend, and he was like, absolutely not. Like that's
Oh
not
my
what happened.
god.
Like you know when you're
LOL.
like talking with your friend, and you're like, oh yeah, like da 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 da, and then like,
Someone just happens to like hear, and you're like, excuse me?
is it me?
Okay, so this match comes to a close when Triple H decides to stick his proboscis all up in this business and starts attacking Marc Mero, giving him the disqualification victory. And
Well, first he goes after Sable.
Oh, back it up. First of all, he gets up from commentary because he's like, oh, I think Sable needs some help. I think I need to go and like help Sable.
After verbally ripping her a new a-hole, is like,
right.
let me go see if she needs my help.
So starts like encroaching on her space, and she is very audibly like, stay away from me.
Get
like,
back, weirdo.
Like, why are you doing this? Like, get away from me, blah, 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 blah. Marc Mero finally like turns around, notices, and then jumps out in between the two and then starts yelling in like Triple H's face. And like, I'm sorry, but if I'm married to somebody and there's some creep just like getting all up on them, invading their, like, I'm swinging first, asking questions later.
Period.
Like,
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
I was like, do not tell me you're gonna go out there. First of all, you're dressed to wrestle. You're dressed to fight. You're gonna go out there and like point your little finger in his face. He just came on to your wife. Like, go get that man.
Hit him with like slide right out of the ring with your foot out and just kick him right in the face. What do you mean? You had the higher ground. He was talking to your wife. What are you doing? Having a debate?
No.
Having a debate?
Hands first, baby. Hands first.
Fists.
Hands first.
With your fists. And you already had a beef with him. It's not even like he's some random dude. You already hate him. Just hit him.
Right. I was like,
unbelievable.
So then Triple H and Billy Gunn end up teaming up and start beating up Marc Mero. And then all of a sudden, Jake the Snake Roberts comes out. Just like,
I saw the crowd all go like this, like look, and I was like, oh, who's coming? Oh, who's coming? And I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh God, sorry, it's terrible. Like,
yeah, it just wasn't who I thought.
No.
I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess like it's kind of spillover from the like Survivor Series match.
That's what I was gonna say.
But it's just like, Jake's not the hero I'm looking for in this scenario. I wanted Marc Mero to step up.
You know what? You're right. And honestly, yeah, that's big T, because really what he should have done is like done something crazy and took them both out.
Right.
Like he should not have had anyone help him.
He should have bopped Triple H while he had the moment. And then gone back in and finished Billy off as if he wasn't already like handling that match. Like,
wow. You know what?
That's like, I get it. It's like a 2-on-1 scenario, sure.
Blah, blah.
But it didn't have to be. Didn't have to be, but
you decided to use your words. Ugh.
Ugh. Ugh. In a wrestling match?
I hate
it. Get out of here.
And then the way that like when Marc Mero was getting like beat up by both of them, and Sable is like sitting there screaming, I was like, Sable, get in there! I don't care, you're wearing a dress, get in there! Like, yeah, in the two of them with the words.
Too much talking. Too much
yakking. We lost the Intercontinental Championship, guys.
Too much yakking.
Too much yakking.
Not enough action.
That's what I'm saying. Get it together. Let's all take that and put it together.
Amen. And apparently that will come to a head at the next pay-per-view, which is In Your House, It's Time, is what it's called. So what we have announced so far is we're going to have Bret Hart facing Psycho Sid for the WWF Championship. We're going to have Marc Mero facing Triple H for the Intercontinental Championship. We don't know who's going to be facing the British Bulldog and Owen Hart. I imagine that it's going to be some combination of Stone Cold and somebody, if he can manage to find somebody long enough.
Oh.
Mostly because Bret's already preoccupied there.
Right.
And they're not going to not do anything with Stone Cold. So I'm wondering if they're going to try and like just like tag somebody onto him to just be like, see if you can coexist for a second.
Right.
We'll see though. I have no idea. Or they could not do the titles at all, and they could do just Stone Cold and the Bulldog. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. It has yet to be announced.
So interesting.
So that is this week's episode of the New to Wrestling podcast. As always, thank you for watching. We appreciate it wherever you find us.
Yeah.
And we will catch you next week.
We'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.